Hey guys, Morgan's Maintenance. Today's tool review is going to be about a product that I recently asked about in a community poll. I asked about the Vessel electric screwdrivers. I've been eyeballing these for a while. I kind of thought about maybe getting me one because one is I really like Vessel's handles. I like that ball grip. You guys know that I do. And, you know, I thought there might be some task that this will be very helpful in. It's repetitive, things like electric and things like that, doorknobs and those kinds of things. Where it would just speed it up, keep me from using my wrist so much, and it's just not something that I would normally use an impact or a drill on, but I wouldn't have to carry one of those around with me if I wanted to speed up that process. Now, is this going to replace a drill or an impact? Absolutely not. I'm going to share with you, what I think about this as far as what you could use it for in this video as well. But in that post, I asked about, Amazon had two options. It had a low speed higher torque version and then a high speed lower torque version, and I was back and forth on which one I wanted to get, and it was a mix from you all as well. Some of you suggested that I should get that low speed with the higher torque because the high speed just didn't have enough oomph behind it and it kind of made it useless. But then some people said they really liked the high speed, even though you might have to manually hand loosen or hand tighten and finish up that screw. It's much faster, so they thought that saved them more time, and I can get why both of them would be an option. Well, then Sat Yes, and I'm not going to say the rest of it because I know I'm going to butcher it, he suggested the one that I ended up getting. Didn't even know that this was something that was an option, and this is the Vessel 220 USB-P1. I had to end up getting this on Amazon Japan. I went ahead and bought this along with another ball handle Vera screwdriver. And just to let you guys know that if you go to buy something, the reason why I added this on was because I basically got this one at the actual price of the screwdriver. The thing about going over to Amazon Japan is that shipping cost, so I just added an extra screwdriver so I could add this into my collection of these, and I only ended up having to pay for the screwdriver. I think it might have added $1 to my shipping. Now if I went two screwdrivers, it went up a little bit more. So that's just a suggestion to you guys. If you order from Amazon Japan, you might want to think about, is there anything else I want before you finish up that order so you can save on some shipping. But basically, I got this one off Amazon Japan with shipping and the currency conversion, all those things. This ended up costing me right around $55, which is actually a hair cheaper or right around the same price as the options that you can get on the US Amazon, whether you get the high speed or if you get the low speed with a little bit higher torque. So this is the one I ended up getting, but let's go ahead and I'll talk about the features and then I'll show you it in use and see what you think about it. So in looking at the features of this screwdriver, and again, it's best I can tell because all the instructions, whether it's the instruction manual, all the things that you see on the box, all I can tell is by the pictures. Everything is written in a foreign language that I can't read, so I'm just going by, I've played with it, I think I've got it figured out. And the main difference between this screwdriver and that high speed and then the low speed that you can get on Amazon is that this one has 3 different settings. So it's kind of a best of both worlds thing, except for it's not necessarily, I still wouldn't call this a high speed, but it's basically not as fast as the high speed, but it's faster than that low speed option that you get on Amazon with the same amount of torque. So basically this one has 3 settings. You can see as I turn that light on, I have a slow blink right here. That's the first setting. That's 1.2 Newton meters or 10.6 inch-pounds, and then it has 280 for the speed. And then if I hold that down, it will go into a faster blink. That's the second setting, which is 1.6 Newton meters, 14.2 inch-pounds, or 340 revolutions as far as that speed goes. And then I can hold it down for the final one. It has 3 settings. You can see that's solid. If I leave that on there, that's the 2 Newton meters or 17.7 inch-pounds, and this is 400 revolutions. So again, if you go back to that low speed option on Amazon, it has the same torque as this high setting. That's the 2 Newton meters, but it only has the speed of the lowest setting of this one, which is the 280. So, but then you get into the high speed, you only get 0.4 Newton meters or 3.5 inch-pounds. So that's not a lot of torque on the high speed option that you can get, but you get 1200 revolutions, which is 3 times as fast as what this will go. So again, it mostly just depends on what you want. You can manually break it loose if you want to go faster for the revolutions. I kind of wanted something in the middle because I don't want it so fast that I gotta, you know, worry about controlling my bit inside of that fastener, but I wanted it to speed me up, or what's the purpose behind it. So I thought that this was a good middle of the road option. And then the fact that I can turn it down to work on more fragile things, I think that's a good fit, and it's around the same price, if not a little bit cheaper. So again, that's why I decided to go with this. So other than the 3 speeds, the main features, you know, that it's going to have is the forward and then the reverse. It has that LED light right there. I don't know that that's really super bright, but it's better than nothing. And then just the same as anything, your drills, impacts, whatever you pull out on that collet, you can change out the bit. It does come with this bit here, but you can change it out to, you know, whatever you want to that has that 1/4 inch adapter on it. You do have to pull out the collet to put your bit in. It's not something where you can just slide it in there and it locks into place, so you do have to do that. But, you know, you can basically use it as any screwdriver you want to. That's nice that you can change to whatever bit you want to. The other things that it has on it is 5 3/4 inches as far as the handle itself, and then this handle weighs 6.7 ounces. I do like the weight of this. It's a little bit bigger ball than the Tang Through, but the weight feels to me a lot like this Tang Through. It's a little bit heavier than this, but it's definitely not crazy heavy. I actually do like the weight on it. And then one other feature of this one, I know David Morris mentioned in his comment on that post that he wished that they came out with one that had the better, or the newer USB-C charging, and this one does have that. They do provide you with a USB-C charging cable, which you just put in here and you charge that, and then as you charge it, this light goes from red to green once it's fully charged. Again, it's a 3.6 volt screwdriver. It's not a M12 drill. It's not an M12 impact. If you expect it to be that, you're going to be disappointed with what it does. I like to think of it kind of, to me, as this screwdriver is similar to me of what a battery powered ratchet is. You know, this is not something that's going to break loose some things that are crazily torqued on, but once I do get it broke loose, it helps me get them on faster and take them back off faster if I want to. So to me, that's kind of what this screwdriver is going to do. It's basically something in certain situations that I'll be able to use it to help speed up my job or save my wrist, probably more than anything. But let me go ahead, I'll show it to you in use on a few things, let you see how it works, and then you can make the decision for yourself. Now, one thing that I didn't mention is that you can still use this as a regular screwdriver. You know, as long as you're not putting forward and reverse, you can hand tighten and hand loosen whatever screws you want to. You know, it still works in the same way. It kind of stays in that lock position. So that's still an option. Again, it's an expensive screwdriver for a manual screwdriver, but just so you know, you can use it. So it's not like it's something you're only going to get out whenever you want an electric screwdriver. You can carry it with you, use it in the times that that's useful, and then not use it in the times that it's not. I've got this on the lowest setting. You can see that small blink or slowest blink right there. If I put this in reverse on that, it's not going to pull it out because I hand tightened that one by hand. But I can take and just hand loosen it just a little bit of a turn. And now if I put it in reverse, it will tighten, it will loosen that up. So again, it's not a big deal. So if you've been back and forth and you really, really want high speed, just know you're probably going to have to loosen that a little bit. But even at this lowest setting though, there's more torque on this lowest setting than what the setting is on that high speed option. Now if I change this over, let's get it down to the solid color, which again is the fastest setting and also the most torque. If I put that in reverse now, it broke that free without me doing it by hand. And then I can also put that in. And whenever I actually get to the end there, it almost kind of twists my wrist a little bit. It's got enough torque to do that. But so just so you can tell, it does all those. It will loosen it by hand without me having to kind of pre-start it. And then I think that that's got it pretty snug. You know, I tightened it down, let it stop, and then if I twist on it, I can still go, you know, quite a bit, but it just depends on how much you want to torque something down. That's plenty tight, in my opinion, where that's at. So screws like that, those are the kind of screws that I would use it on. You know, machine type screws where the hole is already there. Basically, you're just wanting to get rid of all those threads until you get either to the start or the finish. Now, whether I've got to finish it off or start it, that's not a big deal to me, but it's if I've got a 3-inch long fixture screw somewhere, if I can take 2.5 inches worth of that and knock it down just by doing this right here. I'd rather do that all day long than sitting there doing it by hand, or have to carry something like that with me to do it. So you can see here on this, I'm going to do the rest of these just on the main setting, because you know we could be here all day if I swap around to all of them. But if I pull back on that, you can see I'm able to take and basically put those threads in. That's at that fastest speed. So that's the 400 and the highest torque versus, let me go ahead and I will slow it down one more time just so you can kind of see the speed. Maybe you can make an assumption for yourself what you think about it. But see, whenever I'm going back in there, it won't even go in right there. So that's that lowest torque right there. It's not even wanting to put that screw in. So again, that tells me, I don't know about the high speed in some situations, but I'm going to go ahead and move it up to the highest torque, solid green. See what we have here. And that put that in no problem. So again, I think that to me, I'm going to probably leave it on that highest setting. It works on all sorts of things. I would probably use it for something, you know, I probably won't use it for this. I'm just going to show you guys for this. You know, this is not something I would probably ever use this screwdriver for, but it has the power and the speed to put that in. You can go into a plastic box. We'll do that as well. Put that all the way in, quite a bit faster. So again, electrical is something that I would probably use this on just in my, you know, finishing out stage, just because that's going to be faster. I don't have to carry a drill around with me, so now I could put this in my MP1 and probably get by and not have to spend so much time packing another one of those around with me, or my installation driver or something like that. A lot of that work I can now just do with this. Saves me a little bit of, you know, weight on my pouch, and maybe there's some things that I'll run into where I'll just use this as a regular screwdriver, and then the times that it's useful, I'll use it as an electronic. I also used it on a doorknob because I feel that that would be something that would be, I would use it for quite often. And again, at first I put it on that first setting, the lowest speed and the lowest torque, and it just, you know, died out on me. It wasn't going to do it, but I could hand loosen it. Then it would bring it out. And then after I adjusted it to the highest speed, highest torque value, it brought that screw right out, put it right back in. No issues on that whatsoever. So again, that's what it's kind of good for, is electrical work, doorknobs, but to me it's basically machine screws. You know, you're not going to want to use this on certain screws, but if you have screws that already have a threaded hole and it's got threads on it and you're wanting to burn them threads up, that's what this screwdriver is going to be useful for. What it's not going to be useful for is if you have something like wood, where it's already just raw wood. If you're planning on using it for something like this, again, this is not a drill, it's not an impact. I would never expect that this was going to do something like that, but I'm going to go ahead and show it to you just so that you can kind of see what it will do. And I'm going to kind of even put more leverage behind it just so you can kind of see. That's the highest speed setting that you have right there. That's the most that's going to go in before it dies out. Now I did pre-drill some holes, so if you're putting in, you know, strike plates, something like that, where the holes are already pre-drilled, or you're just changing that out, it does make a big difference. If I go into this pre-drill hole right here, I can now just take and it will put that right down in there. So again, it depends on the situation. To me, unless the hole is already there, is essentially my suggestion to you. This is not the tool for you. But if the hole is already in the box, if the hole is already drilled in your door jamb, if the hole is already drilled wherever it is and you're putting a fastener in there and you want to burn up those threads without working your wrist the entire time, you might want to look into getting one of these. But other than that, if you think it's going to be a drill or an impact, it's not going to be that. So yeah, guys, that's the Vestel 220 USB P1. Have to get it on Amazon Japan right now. I do know that maybe like Addicted to Tools or something sells it in Australia. if you want to get it if you live in that area. But other than that, I think you pretty much got to get it from Amazon Japan. And again, with shipping, it ended up coming out about the same. It's just a matter that it takes a little bit longer to get it to you. Again, is it a replacement for a drill or an impact? I mean, absolutely not. If you think that that's going to be the case, you're going to end up being disappointed. But I think that it could be useful in some situations, and it's just a nice screwdriver that you can still use in manual mode as well. Now, 50-something bucks is expensive to get you a manual screwdriver, but just to think about that you can still use it, even the times where, you know, the power might not be enough or whatever it is, it's still very useful. So again, I like it. I'm going to put it to use some more over time and see how much I actually use it. But I just wanted to share with you guys my thoughts on it, and again, let you know that it's an option that's out there, because I'm glad I made that post. I didn't know that this was a thing, and it's kind of a middle of the road to me, so this is the one I decided to go with. But you guys let me know in the comments below if you've got this one, what you think about it. Also, if you didn't comment on the post and you've got the high speed or the low speed with a little bit higher torque, go ahead and comment down below on that as well, because again, people are going to be watching this video, maybe trying to help decide which one that they want to get. So let's give them all the information that they can. But I hope it was useful in some way. You guys stay safe, have a blessed day, and I'll see you on the next video.